What's up, guys? It's Mama Deadhead, and I am back with another Fair Friday. So, first things first, I want to apologize to all of the fellow gamers out there that are on my line chat. I recently just got a new phone because, yes, the one that I just got 2 weeks ago got messed up. So I had to get a new phone in general, but I got a brand new phone instead of a replacement. So I really love this phone. I'm excited about it, and hopefully it can bring many good videos. The video quality is so much better, and I'm excited to have it. The second thing I want to ask you guys is drop any questions below that you want me to answer. I'm going to be doing a Q&A very, very soon, so drop all those questions below and I will answer them for you. It can be about anything, not just Walking Dead. I mean the show, the game, games in general, TV in general, life in general. Just ask me anything and I'll do my best to answer it if I don't get too many questions. But today I wanted to recap and have a discussion on my thoughts of season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead. So I've noticed that this season isn't as well liked as the other 2 seasons. People thought that it was very slow, but I am one of those people that absolutely loved it. I love the fact that we actually got to see everything go on that downward spiral, you know, in general with the public, with the military, everything that happened I found to be, you know, extremely believable. Especially, you know, the way the public reacted. We saw Chris at the very beginning, you know, at a protest about what was going on. I feel like that's definitely something that could happen. We see videos passed around at school, you know, people texting each other about what's going on. I can definitely see that happening. And I also can totally relate to Tobias. You know, obviously he was on his shit to begin with. He knew what was going on. He was trying to be safe about it. And, you know, obviously nobody listened until it was far too late to prepare like he was trying to do. But I really adored his character in general, and I hope he comes back, since, you know, last time we saw him was season 1. But in general, I think that definitely the public would react that way. There would be some people not understanding, videos passed around, people not believing it, people thinking that it's photoshopped and things like that. That's absolutely 100% believable to me. I mean, I do that now. I see news on Facebook and I'm like, you know, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's something that would happen. I would definitely pay attention more now because there's The Walking Dead. But I can see in a world where zombies in general don't exist, how this would be like a whoa, this doesn't make any sense. I don't think this is real. This is just some kind of movie type thing. One other aspect that I want to talk about that I really love that in general the Walking Dead universe does is it isn't always, you know, the cookie cutter mom and dad with a couple of kids, white picket fence type deal. They delve into all sorts of relationships, whether that be divorced, gay, straight, single, everything. And the main family here obviously was very, very dysfunctional. And I think that in general, that's really, really common, and it should be embraced more in TV, because I know a vast amount of kids or people my age that grew up with their parents divorced, or, you know, things in general being different just than a mom and dad household. So in this series, we obviously see Madison and Travis, who are engaged to be married. Madison already has 2 kids. Travis has 1. The dad in one picture isn't there, or isn't in the picture, sorry. And then in the other aspect, they are divorced but share custody. And I think that, I mean, that's a super common thing that happens nowadays. So I like that they did that and that they opened up that family aspect to the show. And in general, I really appreciated it. I think that it was pretty valid how everyone acted as well. You know, the typical Chris and Alicia not really getting along. I could see some smaller resentment towards Nick from Alicia, but mostly some resentment towards her mother, which I can kind of relate to. Maybe that's why I didn't really care for Madison off the start, because I could tell that it was very obvious that she cared in general more for Nick. Now keep in mind, let's just stick with season 1, not any conversations that her and Alicia had in the future. It's just in season 1. I didn't really like the way that it came across, although I understood, obviously, she didn't have to worry about Alicia, and she did have to worry about Nick, but I just didn't like the way that, it was portrayed. But that's just me. That being said, we are also introduced to Daniel, Griselda. I'm so sorry if that's wrong, but Griselda and Ophelia. And I liked their family aspect more, and for those that don't know, I was just head over heels in love with Daniel's character to begin with. So he was definitely, my favorite out the gate, just because he had the background knowledge in general of everything is not going to be okay. And that's one thing that I did not like about Travis, is that he, in the face of all of this terrible stuff happening, he was overly optimistic, and I just didn't really care for that. I guess just because we know now what zombies are, what the apocalypse is, what the show is about, but that character in particular didn't know, and he's just thinking everything is going to get better, and I didn't really like that until he went crazy on the person that shot Ophelia. So, all of that being said, we start out with Nick in the beginning. He has, passed out, he's doing drugs, and he wakes up to find his girlfriend, I believe, whose name is Gloria, and he finds Gloria eating a guy's face, and I think this is how most people that have never heard of a zombie would respond, which is he stood there for like 3 seconds, mortified, and then he just started running. He just started running and then stopped and, obviously got hit by the car. And then even he was so, his mind was so fogged in the hospital. He was like, I know what I saw, but it doesn't make any sense. And, coming from somebody that has drug issues, I feel like that situation would have been handled exactly how it was handled. People in the hospital not believing him, obviously the family not believing him at first, and then you see the slight skepticism that Travis gets when he actually is like, I'll go visit and see this place that you're talking about. So I did like the fact that, Travis put himself out there and went to actually go do that. But I think that was definitely a very interesting way to start things, and it's definitely a shame that we never figure out how exactly it started, but I believe this has been said before. If you know exactly how it starts, then you know how it can end, and there can be an end, and we obviously do not want an end to The Walking Dead. So I like the fact that we got to see everything fall, and one thing that I stress to everyone that I ask or, beg to watch the show is it's not the same as The Walking Dead. It's the same universe, obviously, but characters handle things in very different ways. The community in general is very different from where our core original Walking Dead group is from, so things were handled much differently. We see characters in Fear the Walking Dead do much bolder and more brave things in season 1 than we see in, the first actual original Walking Dead series. So I really liked that we actually got to see stuff from the beginning. We saw basically first episode that it doesn't matter how you die, that you come back. And that's something that we didn't learn until much later in the original show. So I liked the aspect of that. And my assumption would be, obviously, Nick puts them in bad situations with his drug habit, but overall it's a much more condensed area with a lot more people, so things have to be handled differently because things can go down quicker in a bigger city versus, outskirts and suburbs of Atlanta. So in general, I'm trying to save my favorite for last. You guys already know. But in general, I find, them finding Daniel, bringing them back, the military quarantining the one area into a safe zone. I feel that's also very accurate. How everything was handled that way, I feel, is very valid, and I feel that that definitely would happen in a situation like that. Now, that being said, one thing that I also support that I saw other people, upset about or not really understanding is whenever basically the military pulled out or gave up, and essentially we saw a couple people that were like, you know what, I'm done with this community. I don't care who I'm saving. I need to go to my family. And obviously, people can relate to that. I feel like in a situation like that, I would probably do the same thing. I'd be like, you know what? I know that all of you guys need this safe zone and you need all of us here, but this is my family. So peace out. Bye. That's definitely something that I would do. So I can relate to the people that did that. Now, we see in this season, Liza obviously is bitten. Travis has to take care of it, and that's something that Chris in general never gets over. He obviously has a lot of resentment towards Travis in general, and obviously that made it 10 times worse. But now, for my favorite. So Strand is introduced in Cobalt, and it's when Nick is put into this cage, and I think that his introduction speaks true to his character, and he just starts out with this very expressive and elaborate dialogue to another character, essentially driving him crazy to get him out. And it's funny how it starts, because this is the beginning of that episode. We just see this big dialogue from this character that we have absolutely no idea who they are. And then, he turns to Nick at the very end of all of that, and he's like, who the hell are you? And I think that's just the most fascinating thing ever. And we see Strand so calm in this season, so collected in everything that's going on. I thought that it was hilarious in general. Whenever he was introduced, I started Fear the Walking Dead a little bit late because of, living in Japan at the time. And I came back and I binged all that was on at that point in time. And when we're introduced to him, it's just this stunning man in a suit, all like extravagant. Like, his character is just so over the top. And you're like, who is this guy? Like, who is this guy in a suit? Just, he can do anything he wants, it seems. So I think in general that was really cool. We also met, obviously, another big character, Abigail. So I thought that she was absolutely wonderful. She did a great job. But I like the foundation in general that season 1 laid. I like the different aspects of the family, like I said. I like how everyone was introduced. In general, you could see how people take things. And one thing that I want to stress to everyone, if you are watching this and you haven't seen Fear the Walking Dead, you're nervous about it, I say give it a chance. And the reason I say that is you do get more insight on, how things happened. Not why they happened, but, how they happened. And I think that it's definitely a really cool point of view from the Clark family. Also, The Walking Dead is not like Fear the Walking Dead, because they are 2 separate shows. So if you decide to watch it, try and separate them. A sheriff isn't going to handle things the same way as a high school guidance counselor is going to handle them. So if you separate them, take it for what it is, and know that people don't start just killing like it's easy, like it's nothing. This is something that wears on a person, except for Daniel. So stay with it, because in this show, I like to think badasses are made over time, and we definitely have those badasses now. But yeah, season 1 was some wonderful foundation building blocks for what I think is an absolutely phenomenal show. So drop a comment below. What do you guys think? What do you think about my discussion? How do you feel about it? Who did you really like in the first season? Who did you not like? I can go ahead and tell you guys. I was on the fence about Nick, which I kind of still am. I'm sorry, season 1. I'm trying to say season 1 in my head. I was on the fence about Nick. I liked Alicia in general because I was quite similar to her as a teenager. I wasn't a huge Madison fan. I did not like Travis. I didn't like Chris. I liked Liza. I really liked Daniel. Griselda, his wife, was kind of, just a background type character for me. Ophelia, also on the fence about at this point. Strand, honestly, guys, like, he wasn't my favorite, but he wasn't my least favorite, just because I literally couldn't process his character. Like, his character is so different from everything else in the Walking Dead universe that here is like, here is hate, and here is Strand. Like, he was just in a completely different ballpark than everyone else, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna give this time. This is just, like, he's a little bit too out there for me to actually, pass a good judgment on, but I was so intrigued by his character, though. So, what do you guys think about Season 1? Did you really like it, or are you one of the people that think that it's a super slow season, you're not a huge fan, you could have just skipped it altogether and not even cared? But remember, drop any questions or comments below because I will be doing a Q&A video, but this is going to be it for this Fear Friday. Hopefully next week I'm going to be doing a recap and same type of discussion on Season 2. I would really like to watch that season back in its entirety before I discuss it so I don't leave anything out. That's going to be it for this Fear Friday, guys, and like always, like and subscribe. Bye, guys!